Hello and welcome to the Stitching Over the Days podcast. This is episode 33 and my name is Constance. I want to thank any new viewers and also any returning viewers for taking a moment to hear all about my sewing, knitting, and crochet adventures. And you can find me on Instagram and Ravelry as cleocmc, that's CLEOCMC. And there's also a Ravelry group, Stitching Over the Days. And there is a blog with the show notes, yarningoverthedays.wordpress.com. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. I have quite a few things to share with you today. All of them are covering all of the fabric crafts that I do. So we're going to cover knitting, sewing, and crochet. We'll first start with the sewing projects. Then I'll move into my knitting project. And then I'll end with my crochet projects. So this is just the finished project section. So first I'll start with Butterick 6446. And I made version A. Now this is a really lovely pattern, and I've been wanting to make it for quite a while because there are so many versions that other sewers have made on Instagram, and they've all been just so beautiful. And so I've been meaning to make it for years, but I never got around to it. And so I finally made it happen, and I really like it. I'll say one of the perks of this project is that it is not a fabric concrete project. Well, version A isn't. And so I used about 2 yards. And it worked out because I had 3 yards of the fabric, and this was a Rifle Paper Company fabric, which I'll show to you in just a bit. But I actually cut the bodice wrong, and so a wrap dress should go this way. What is it? To my left side, but it was going to the right because I cut it the wrong way. And I'm sure in the grand scheme of things, it probably wouldn't have mattered if it was like the only fabric that I had left over, but since I had extra fabric, I just went back and cut the bodice the right way. And so that was really the only hiccup in the project. So here's the project, and I think the fabric is so beautiful. I love the citrus fruits. And if you can see the little pleated detail from that wrap section, that's really lovely. And it is a lined bodice. And it has pockets. Oh, and the zipper was a regular zipper insert, so you can see the zipper. Overall, I'm super happy with the project. I really want to create another version of this dress in just a solid print, so when we do go back to work, I think it'll look really nice and professional. And I can't think of anything else to say. I really didn't have any major problems besides cutting the bodice out wrongly. And I did make a sash to go around the waist. Because I made version A, I didn't go with that large sash that comes with the pattern because I think it would have overwhelmed the dress, because version A uses less fabric, and I felt that that large sash would just be too much, and I would want a slimmer sash. That's a tongue twister. And so I used the sash from Butterick 6563, and I just added 5 inches to the length. The same thing that I did in the previous episode when I added the sash to my skirt. And I like doing that because I think it also works quite nicely as a headband when so it's a versatile piece, but it looks nice also around the waist. Yeah, so that is Butterick 6446. I'm so happy that I finally got around to creating it, and it did not disappoint. And I also really like that it was a lined bodice because I'm really running low on interfacing, and as you all know, with the quarantine situation, it's not easy to get interfacing. And I tried to order some from Joann's, and it was in my cart, but then they sent me a notice and said that they didn't have any in stock, so I just was like, So lined bodices are just like a lifesaver right now because I always have some fabric that I could use to line a garment. So yes, that is it for 6446. And I did sew another garment. Now my niece, this other garment I made 3 times before. and it is New Look 6469. Now, when I made that green version, my niece loved it so much. She immediately asked for a version, and as I mentioned before, New Look 6469, it really is an easy pattern and it doesn't take long. You can really whip it up in a few hours, and I was like, oh yes, I'll make you that. It should be no problem. But you know, I was really getting distracted by all of the things that I was creating with my sewing, well, mainly with my knitting and my crochet, and so I kept putting it off, and she'll call me, we'll talk. She'll say, oh, did you start my dress yet? Did you start my dress yet? Like every time she would see me post something on Instagram or my Instagram stories, she'll say, did you start my dress? And I was like, oh my goodness. So it took her, she requested the dress, and it took me about 3 weeks to finally get to it. And I told her, I'm like, I'm so sorry for the delay. But I did get to it. So I used the same fabric that I always use with New Look 6469, and that is Fabric Merchant's Ponte. And she chose this royal blue color. And it's really, really beautiful. I love it so much. I was tempted to keep it myself. Overall, it went really smoothly. This is my 4th time making this dress, and she liked the version with the mock turtleneck and the shorter sleeves. So that's what I did for her. And I also added my handmade tag in there. Yes, and I purchased these last year from Amazon. There was a seller, and it came surprisingly quickly. Well, not like really fast, but it was about 2 weeks, and I mainly just put the tags, not in my garments, I mean, I don't know why, but mainly in garments that I'm giving to others, just so they can kind of remember that I made it. So yeah, so she's super happy with it. I sent her the pictures and the images, and she was like, thank you so much. And so I'm happy that she's happy, and I'm happy that that's done, because I took a long time to get to it, and sure enough, I did whip it up in a few hours. But I still kind of put off doing things, because I actually just hemmed it this morning. Yeah, so but I got to it. Oh, I do want to note that when it came to the invisible zipper insertion, I forgot to do that part where you're supposed to first I basted the zipper in place, and you're supposed to close it to make sure that this part is aligned, but I forgot to do that part, and as you can see, it's not aligned perfectly, but I don't think it's a big deal, and I still think that the fit will be great, and I don't even know if she would notice unless she's watching this podcast, which she does not, so we're not going to worry about it. Yes, I always do the invisible zipper with that pattern. Right before I was about to record, I posted the dress on my Instagram, and someone told me that when she makes that dress pattern that she does not do the zipper, and that it goes easily over her head. So I don't know if you wanted to make that pattern but you didn't feel confident or didn't want to do the invisible zipper, then it might not be necessary. You could probably just make it, but I kind of like the invisible zipper, because I mean, I don't mind tucking things over my head, because I do tuck my Freya tops, which is also a mock turtleneck, over my head, but it is something nice about just opening it and either stepping into the dress or pulling it over your head. It's just easier, and then I don't have to mess up my hair. Yeah, so but either way, it might work, so that's good to know, and I was happy that she pointed that out. Okay, so that is it for the sewing. I didn't do as much sewing this time as I did last time, but that's okay, but because I mean, I have clothes. And my phone, I had to leave it on. I apologize if you hear it, because I'm expecting a call for work, so I have to make sure I don't miss the call. And so yeah. Okay, last episode I was telling you all that I was going to make the Sherry cardigan, which is a perfect cardigan for the spring and summer weather, and it is a Kim Hargraves design. And that is the design, and as you can see, it's a really simple knit, a stockinette mainly, and then you have that the detailed collar, shawl collar, and the cuffs that use the moss stitch. Now, I thought it was going to be a mindless knit, but I must admit that it was not a mindless knit. This is just an idea of my notes. Because you had the waist shaping taking place along with the shawl collar, along with, there was something else I had to keep track of. Yes, I was keeping track of the front slope, the collar, and the increasing. And so I was having to make sure that I was paying attention and making sure that my count was coming in okay. And so it's not hard, it just takes concentration to make sure that you're doing it right. And overall, I'm super happy with it. As I've stated, I've used stash yarn and it worked out perfectly. This is Cascade 220 Superwash. I've made 3 cardigans previously with the Cascade 220 Superwash. 2 of them I don't wear that much, and I wouldn't say that it's really due to the yarn, but mainly more so the colors of the cardigan, because they're not like really versatile colors. But the black version that I made with the Superwash is a Hortensia cardigan by a design by Andy Satterlund. I wear it all the time, and I will say that it does have pilling on the sleeves. It's not like horrible, but it does peel. And that Hortensia cardigan is a long sleeve cardigan, and so you know the sleeve on this little area that does get more wear, and so maybe that may be a factor. So I don't know, we'll see if this gets peeling, but since this is a short sleeved cardigan, I may not experience that. But this is the finished cardigan. I am so happy with it, and the color name is Moss, and these are the buttons, and if you look closely, I don't know if it's showing up, but there are flowers within the buttons, and I'm really happy about that. Okay, I think that's it. Yeah. And yes, the color is Moss, and I just love the fit of this cardigan. I feel like the shawl perfectly comes up and it stays in place really nicely, and I just think it's like a simple design, but it's so beautiful. I think it's so elegant, and I'm looking forward to wearing it. I will say that when you seam, if you want to do this pattern, also I don't know if I stated, but yes, it was from the Honey collection. But if you do this pattern, like when you're seaming the collar, then I had to make sure that I had the seam going this way, so that when I folded it over, you didn't see it. So that worked out nicely. For seaming of the entire garment, I did the back stitch throughout. That is my preferred method, and it worked out quite nicely. So there's not much else to say. I did make the size, what size? I made the size extra small, which has a 32 bust. And I'm super happy with it. And this was a fun project, and it was quick. It was a good, just a relaxing project. And I finished it in a week, so that goes to show you how quickly it does work up. And again, you don't have long sleeves or anything that would take a lot of time, so that's understandable why it will work up so quickly. So that is Sherry Cardigan by Kim Hargraves. Okay, so that is it for the knitting. So I did a lot of crochet, and I'm happy that I did a lot of crochet, because I actually haven't done that much crochet in probably the past 7 months or so. I think that the last crochet project I did was last summer, and but I did do some crochet. I saw this design from the new issue of Rowan magazine, issue 67, and this was a design by Lisa Richardson. And this issue, it is really good because it has this entire like crochet collection, and the crochet projects, they aren't hard. Lisa Richardson noted that they are all suitable for a beginner, and I do agree. And I think that this design it's the Palermo, I'm sorry, by Lisa Richardson. I'm trying to find a good picture. And that is the design there. And let's see, show you another picture. Now, initially, I really wanted to go for a bright color because I made 2 tops last summer with the Roma Summerlight 4-ply. That is the yarn for this top. I'm wearing it today. And but I made 2 garments last summer, and they were neutral garments, and I loved them so much. I made a color in their seashell color, and I made a top in the white color, and I also made a Lisa Richardson design last summer in the Summerlight, but it was a beautiful aqua color. And I wanted to go for another kind of bright color like the model is wearing, and also to have like 2 bright Summerlight garments and 2 neutrals. But I didn't, at the time, I wasn't ordering from the yarn shop because it was closed, but they have set up online ordering, so I'm happy about that. And so I just went to my stash, and I had this beautiful wash linen color, and I actually like it a lot. And so I'm still really happy with the garment. And of course this color makes it, I'm sorry, I'm looking at the garment, but this color makes it more versatile, definitely. And I like the details. I will say that again, this is a really easy crochet project, and I still was making mistakes. I was like, as you can see, most of this is single crochet or double crochet, which is the UK terminology. And at one point I skipped a stitch, so my count was off, and then I caught it some rows later, and I had to rip back and fix it. Now you can fix things quite easily with crochet. And then another time I increased into a stitch, and I caught it again some rows later, and I had to rip back. And that wasn't it. I completed most of the back. I was like right at this point for the armhole shaping. Well, I did the armhole shaping. I was like at this point, and I was like, I always like measure my garments as I'm working them up, comparing them to the schematics just to make sure things are all okay. And I was like, why are my schematics like smaller than what it says in the book? And I don't want, this is not a garment that I would think would look good, would like to be really tight or close fitting. It's supposed to be carefree and easy, and I wanted that positive ease. And what I realized was I picked up the wrong crochet hook, and so I was working with a 2.25 hook, and I was supposed to be working with a 2.5 hook. So I had to rip back the entire back. But that was good to know that Roma Summerlight is a great yarn for ripping back, because it still held up and it looked just as good when I was working it up again. It didn't look fuzzy or bad, and it didn't break or anything. And so it held up really nicely to me ripping back the back portion. So then I started again, and this time I did do it with the right hook, and after that it went along pretty smoothly. It is a garment that doesn't work up like super fast, because you have this fingering weight yarn, and so you have quite a few single crochet stitches, and single crochet stitches are smaller stitches. As we know, with double crochet or the treble crochet, the taller it gets, or when you make clusters or shells or lace work projects, they can work up like that because they're taller stitches. But with single crochet, you have these smaller garments. So it was working up not super slowly, but it was working up a bit slower than other crochet projects. But again, it's a really nice and fun project, and I was happy that it was like such a simple design, but it gave me like such a beautiful result. It's so elegant and so beautiful, and I'm looking forward to wearing it quite a bit. Okay, so that is it for the Palermo top. This is a design by Lisa Richardson, and it's in the current issue of Ruin Magazine 67. So you can get your hands on this issue and you love crochet, and there are some beautiful knit designs in it also. They have also this section of twin sets, which is amazing, and I've been wanting to make some twin sets. Then I'm get this issue, and also I do plan to make this Yeah, that beautiful shawl. Now, I watched the Potter and Bloom podcast, and I know that I also follow her on Instagram, and I know that she finished her, what is this called? The Ravenna shawl? Yes, the Ravenna shawl, and she finished hers in this gorgeous blue color. But I was able to get some Summer Light 4 ply, and I'm going to make that in pink. And I think that's going to be quite beautiful, and it's going to match a lot of my summer dresses, and it'll be nice to just drape that lacy crochet shawl. It's really beautiful over my shoulders. So yeah, so that is that design. So that's my next plan for this issue, which I will get to sometime over the next few months. Okay, so I don't know, these next projects, they just make me smile, they make me happy. On the latest the latest episodes, I think I was thinking about the magazine issue, but on the latest episodes of Fruited Knitting, Andrea made a crochet flamingo, which was really adorable and cute, and it brought back memories of how I used to make a lot of crochet garments. Okay, I'm checking my time. And I used to love to make, not crochet garments, but crochet toys and or amigurumi. And I used to make them like so much years ago. And then I kind of got over making the little toys, and I felt like they were just taking up space. And like they were like, I used to have them in my room, like just like piled. And then I had my sister's best friend, she came and visited us once, and her little girl was with her, and she loved the amigurumi that I created, and she was like, oh, they're so cute. And I was like, you can have them all. So I gave them all to her, and so I didn't have like any more, and I would like every now and then make a stuffed toy. I made one for my classmate and for her daughter about a year or two ago, probably 2 years ago. And so I didn't really make that many. And when I saw the interviews that Andre did with Carrie Lord, and that's what I'm talking about, I did some Toft Creatures. Now Carrie Lord, I was like, and she was working and showing how to do embroidery on Emma the Bunny, and I was like, hey, I made that pattern years ago. And she was talking about gauge and how your stuffing shouldn't show through. And so I went to my Ravelry. That's why I love documenting my projects. And sure enough, I did make that in 2013. And when I was reading my notes, I see that I made 3 of the bunnies as a part of a missionary project that we were having at our church. And we made them for children in the hospital. So those were donated also. And I was looking at the images and thinking about what Carrie Lord said in the interview, and I was like, oh, that wasn't a good job. You could definitely see my stuffing. Come see it through the animals, and also I had it just wasn't the best job at all, and I used like a large hook, and so my gauge should have been tighter. And I was like, oh, I want to do some more Toft Animals, and I want to do it right this time. And so I placed an order using my patron discount for some kits, but of course it's coming from the UK to the United States. And so I was like waiting a while, and then I had the book Edward's Menagerie, and I was like, well, I could at least go in my stash and create an animal and look at the YouTube videos. Oh, Toft has an amazing YouTube channel, and I could look at the YouTube videos and listen to her suggestions and recommendations, which I looked at a lot of the videos on stuffing and sewing the pieces together and all of that. And I was like, maybe I could do it right this time. So I did that, and I decided to make Bridget the elephant. Now my sister and her family are huge football fans for the Alabama Roll Tide, and the mascot is the elephant. So I wanted to make some elephants for my nephew and for my niece Marie and my nephew Derek Jr. And so first I used some stash yarn of the Cascade 220 Superwash, and I purchased this yarn also from my local yarn store last year as a part of the sale, and I made Bridget the elephant. She is so adorable. Oh my goodness. She makes me so happy. And let me show you her little tail, you guys. It is so cute. How adorable is that? Now, I was confused on how to create the tail going by the instructions alone. So I referred to a video, and Toth had a video on how to create Bridget's tail. And so I was able to create that quite easily. And it's not hard at all. And then I decided to watch the documentary Elephant on my Disney Plus. And because I just wanted to know more about elephants. And when I was seeing the elephants in the documentary, they had those little tails, and their tails look just like this. And so that's what I like about the Toth creatures. They have that basic construction, but like she said, she brings out the like noteworthy features of each of the animals. And so elephants, they're known for their ears, they're known for their trunk, and this adorable tail. And so I love that all of those were featured. Another thing that Carrie stated was that you could change the expression of the animals. And so I made Bridget sleepy-eyed because that is what Marie does most days. She's young, she's 2 months, and so she sleeps most days. She's a newborn. And so I'm super happy with her. So then I was like, okay, I know JR is going to, yeah, I said his name is Derek Jr., but I call him JR. And so I was like, I know he's going to want a stuffed creature also. And so I made an elephant for him, and I decided to name him Bryce. So we have Bridget and Bryce. And so Bryce is also made with Cascade 220 Superwash. This was leftover yarn from a cardigan that I did years ago. One of those cardigans I was talking about that I don't wear much, but I do like, and it was the Penelope cardigan by Andy Satterlund. Again, he's so adorable. Now you'll notice that Bryce has alert eyes, and I was trying to give him a mischievous expression because JR is definitely in the terrible twos, and he is always getting into something. The stories and the pictures and videos that my sister send me of his antics are so hilarious. And so I was like, I think that Bryce is going to keep him company, and I think he's going to get battered and bruised a lot with all of the antics that JR gets into. But that's what I hope for, and I'm so happy that they're made with the Cascade 220 Superwash. I think it works perfectly for the animals because it could be washed quite easily. And I added no parts because these are going to babies, and so I didn't want them to harm themselves. And so I'm super happy with Bridget and Bryce the elephant. So they're sisters and brothers. Okay, and I was yeah, so that's that. So these creatures are so addictive. I mean, super addictive. And so I was like, oh, I really want to make another creature. Now, one thing that Toth does is they send you a PDF of your pattern when the kit is on the way. So I was like, hey, I could just pull up the PDF and work up another animal. I think my time is going to run out, so I'm going to pause on that and start back over. Yes, as I was saying, I was like, oh, I have a PDF of the turtle. Now, of course, I was just looking all at their website, and I was looking at all of the little kits and the designs, and I saw something green, and of course, my eye immediately like perked up. I was like, ooh, what is that? And it was a turtle, and she was called Cat the Mini Turtle. And I was like, oh, she's adorable. And I was like, I would love to make a little green turtle. And so I placed an order for that kit. And here's Cat. She is a sea turtle. And look at her little flippers. They're so adorable. Uh-oh. And yeah. But since the yarn is still on the way, this yarn is actually left over from my cardigan that I just shared, the Sherry cardigan. And so I was able to create a mini cat. And as you can see, she fits in the palm of my hand. She's so adorable. And she worked up super quickly. I finished it that night. Like, I immediately finished, right after I finished Bryce the elephant, I was like, oh, let me make a little turtle. And so I made my cat the turtle. And if we were still traveling, I would have taken Kat along with us on our journeys, and it would have been fun to like place her in little locations and when we were sightseeing and all of that. But for now, she is quarantined with me, and so I was able to take her out on a little photo shoot. I went to the garden, which is walking distance from here. It's not far at all. And so I walked there, and I was kind of like, I don't know if somebody's going to be there, but it was completely empty. And I was able to get pictures of her by the water, and I think they turned out so beautiful. And yeah, so Kat is so adorable, and she's staying here with me, so she won't be shipped off. So I'm gonna just place her up there. So that is it for the animals I've created. I look forward to sharing with you the animals that I plan to create when my kits arrive from Toft. And I realized, like, she has dogs, she has birds, she has safari creatures, jungle creatures, but it looks like I'm mainly attracted to the safari creatures because I want to make the giraffe, the zebra, and I definitely knew I wanted to make a bird because the birds are just so adorable. I love their little legs. And I finally settled on, I knew that I had a lot of dresses that had birds on them, but so I went to my closet and I was like, wow, I have quite a few dresses with birds on them. And so I had 2 dresses with flamingos, some with parrots or macaws, and also one with a toucan. So, but in the end, I decided to place an order for a kit for a macaw. And I also got the duck. It was a cayuga duck, which was a green duck that I had never seen before, and it was beautiful. And I, of course, wanted a green bird. So yes, I'm super happy with those little creatures. Just seeing them sit right now, they're just sitting on the like table next to the TV, and just seeing them, just put a little smile on your face. And again, those are really simple, easy crochet projects that work up quite quickly. Okay, I do have a work in progress that I just started last night. I was supposed to complete my gauge swatch last night, and I was going through the gauge swatch. It wasn't working up slow at all. It was actually working up quite quickly. But then I paused because I wanted to go to the Instagram live with Babyface and Teddy Riley, and I'm a huge Babyface fan, so of course I had to go. And it went on for over 2 hours, and I was definitely was commenting and looking at everything and didn't want to miss a thing, and so I put down my knitting completely. And so I didn't finish my gauge swatch, but let me share with you what I'm making. Okay, this is the honeysuckle cardigan, designed by Marie Wallen, and it's absolutely beautiful. I love that it has a more relaxed fit, because my previous fair cardigan, as you that was the Montige by Alice Darmore. That's a fitted garment, and I like that. But it is nice to also have a really more relaxed fitting cardigan in my wardrobe, and so I like that about this design. Also, I thought the colors were quite beautiful. And another thing is, I finally wanted to try Jameson of Shetland. It's such a popular yarn. So many people have created so many beautiful garments and fair garments with it, and I wanted to try it for a very long time, and so I finally put in an order. Now I wanted the colors to be exactly as pictured, so much so that the site that I ordered from, they didn't have the yellow color, and so I had to go to another site to get the yellow color. But then I was doing a check to make sure all of my colors were there before I got started. And it looks like they substituted the paprika color for a sunrise color, which I don't think will be a major problem. And I was like, I'm not going to get stuck on that. I'm going to get started. And yes, a few more things I'll say about this project is I am working it flat. I know that you can convert it to working around. I know a lot of knitters do that with Marie Wallen's fair hour garments, but I have no problem with working fair hour in the flat. And also, I don't want to lose skills that I do have, because I can purl in fair hour on the wrong side, the purling is the wrong side, so I can purl in Fair Isle, and I was like, I might as well use my skills. And also, Marie stated, I've been watching her Instagram lives that she's been doing every Friday. I love them so much. And she stated that when it's in the flat, it's supposed to, the side seams are supposed to like perfectly match on the side in the flat. And so she said if you work it in the round, then you won't have that perfect match on the side. Another thing she noted that I agreed with completely, and I said, oh, that is so true, is that she said when you work in the flat, you can monitor your tension, because you can actually see how your floats are looking and if they're too tight or too loose. And so I don't know. I don't think I have a preferred method of working Fair Isle in the flat or in the round. The thing is that I just do like, if I see a pattern and I like it, and then I just think, oh, I'm going to make it. And so I don't really worry about the techniques, and I look at it as an opportunity to really just improve my skills, whatever technique they use, the designer uses. So I'm looking forward to that. Now, I know someone stated that, sent me a message and said, oh, about the ends you'll have to weave in. But again, that's another thing that I never really was bothered by. I know I'm in the minority. I know this because I know a lot of knitters are not down for weaving in a lot of ends. But I guess I don't know. I just relax, pop in a movie or audiobook or some music, and before you know it, it'll be over with, you know. And so it's like weaving in the ends is also therapeutic, because after you've done all of that knitting, then it's really nice to just like sit down and sit still, and then just, you know, just weave in the ends, because, you know, it's really just something really simple. It just takes time, and it's in the grand scheme of things, it's really not that much time. So yeah, so let me show you the little, I did half of my gauge swatch. Now, as I've stated, because I'm working this garment flat, yes, because I'm working it flat, I am working this swatch back and forth instead of in the round, as I've done with my Fair Isle garments by Alice Star Moore. So let's see what I have so far. It's not much to share. So that's what I have so far. There we go. And I think it's looking good. The paprika color that they substituted for the sunrise, it is this color. It's quite vivid, but I still think it'll be okay. And I have now all of my yarn just kind of in a basket, which works, and it's helping me to keep it organized. So there are all the colors there for the cardigan. Oh, and I forgot these two. So yes, and so I'm going to finish that gauge swatch tonight while this video is uploading, and maybe I'll also get cast on the project tonight. So far, I've been monitoring, I've been looking at the gauge. I knew I was going to go down one needle size because I just knew I would probably have to. So instead of working it in the suggested needle size, I immediately went down one needle size, and that was a good move because, hey, my gauge is so far perfect. Like, I haven't of course, like Marie stated that she prefers to iron her garments, I think, with a steam press, but as you all know, I typically do a full soak of my garments, but I carefully pick it up so that it doesn't get out of shape, or that it doesn't lose its shape from the water or the weight of the water. And so I think I'm going to still do that with this garment. After I complete each of the pieces and weave in the ends, I'm going to soak each piece individually and let them block and lie flat and smooth, and then I'm going to seam the garment. I just like doing it that way. But yeah, so I'm super happy with how it's going so far, and I'm looking forward to casting on this project. And so I think this will be my main project in the coming weeks. This is pretty much what I want to work on. I know I'm not going to get a lot of wear out of it. I know that I'm in South Carolina and that it's hot, but it'll be nice that when it does get cold, and that when I am in cold buildings, even though I'm not sure how often I would cart this along, it would be nice to have a really nice Pharaoh cardigan just in my wardrobe. So yeah, so I'm going to just mainly work on that, and I will probably just in between time create some topped animals. So that is it for the work in progress. That's all I have been actively working on. Oh, I also am getting ready to end this podcast. It's not a long one today, I don't think. And so I just wanted to say that I'm wearing the Palermo top, which is a new design, but I paired it with my McCall 7906, which I made last summer. And I really like this skirt, and I love that it has pockets. So that is it for today's podcast. I will insert the twirls of my Butterick 6446 and also my Sherry by Kim Hargraves and also my Palermo by Lisa Richardson at the end. All right, you guys, I hope you're all staying safe and well, and that you're enjoying life and also making the most of your time. All right, I'll talk to you later. Bye.